So we've talked a lot about what owning jumping spiders is like, but today we're going to flip the script a little bit, just having a little bit of fun. If my jumping spiders could leave me honest reviews as an owner, this is what I think they'd say. I'm slightly nervous. One thing I think that my jumping spiders would say is that feeding is inconsistent, and we've covered this before because I feed them when they look hungry. I never want them to be overfed because it could lead to abdominal separation, and that is the last thing we want for our spooders. So I think they would say inconsistent, but from what we know from research, I feed them absolutely fine. What I imagine they would say is, she feeds me regularly, but she sometimes stares at me to see if I'm hungry. Review number 2, she stares at me a lot. I think that they would say that I'm constantly watching them, and to be honest, it's kind of hard not to. Have you seen how cute they are? I think one thing that gets me, and why I stare at them quite often, is just seeing how intelligent they are as a species. And I know I've covered this a lot, but when you get to actually observe them in their habitats, you can really see what I mean. So that review would be irritating for them, fun for us. The review number 3 that I think, and that I truly do believe in, is that they like their enclosures, because I always try and kit them out whilst also trying to simulate their natural environment. So I think they would approve of this one, personally. So I hope they would say that it has good ventilation, good anchor points, but there could be more flies. As I have mentioned in videos previously, and if you haven't watched them already, feel free to after this video, but remember that we don't want them living just in a box without any simulation, any anchor points, and we want to make sure that there is no stagnant air in those enclosures that can cause mold and bacteria buildup. Review number 4, which again, I would think I'm quite proud of myself for this, because I really do follow this structure quite a lot, and I think they would say that handling is optional. I think they would say, if they could, that I don't force handling or interaction, because I just don't. If they're by the front of their enclosure, I'll open the door, and if they come out and climb onto my hand, great, but I'll never force it, because that can cause so much unnecessary stress. Review number 5, molting is stressful, and I covered this quite recently, and it was quite validating to have people in the comments agree, because it isn't something that you really consider until you experience it yourself. But that review, I hope the spider would say, molting is stressful, but they did the best they could for me. And that should always be your goal when having a jumping spider. I also think that they would say that I internally panic until they pop their little heads out to confirm that they're okay, and that is 100% the truth. That is what I do. Even with years of doing this, I still panic about the molting process, and of course it's stressful for them too. So the review is, it's stressful on everyone involved. So for those of you that don't know, molting is the process where a spider will shed their old exoskeleton and a new one will form and harden in its place. Now, the reason why this is so scary is because if the conditions aren't just right for that spider to molt, they can either mismolt, lose limbs, or die in the process because it's not humid enough and they don't have the energy to push that old exoskeleton off. Or even they can get stuck in that old exoskeleton, or a limb could. And it's really hard to know what to do in those situations. So that is why we always suggest a thermometer and hygrometer at the top of your enclosure, because heat travels up, to know that those temperatures and humidities are just right for your spider. Please also don't worry if your spider hides, because one of the biggest indicators of molting is if they're in their hammock for weeks. I mean, I had one that, I think Chai, her mature molt, she didn't molt for 2 months, but she was in her hammock for 2 full months. I knew at that point that that is completely normal behaviour, but a beginner might not. So don't freak out if they're in their hide or their nest or their hammock for a long time. They're just making sure that it's the right time. It's the time where they feel the most vulnerable, so they have to feel safe in doing it. So don't worry too much if your spider, you haven't seen them for a while and they're not mature, because they're probably just prepping for a molt. And one of the biggest things I would say in terms of this review is patience. Your spider will appreciate it. I would hope that they would say that they'd want to live here again, because that would be the biggest honour. If a jumping spider could speak and they said that they feel safe, and I know this video is so silly, but there's a lot of negativity at the moment and I just wanted to make a fun video like this, but I would hope that they would want to live with me again if they ever had the chance to, because I love living with them. I feel that they would say that I offer a safe space, I offer predictable routines, and I hope that they feel the least amount of stress possible. That's what I always try to cultivate in every enclosure. And this is another thing, small animals deserve thoughtful care, just like the big animals do. And I feel like they often get overlooked because they're just spiders, but to me, they are as equal as dogs and cats, in my opinion. So they deserve the same sort of care as mammals. So I'd like to think that I would get at least 4 stars. Yeah, 4 out of 5 stars, hopefully. But honestly, they'd probably just rate the flies. If you want a part 2 of this video, I do have more reviews ready for you. So this has just been a really goofy video because, as I say, sometimes there's a bit of negativity in this hobby and I just wanted to make it fun, because why not? We can have fun here whilst also learning things that are important. So if you have any funny reviews that you think your spider would leave you, drop them in the comments below. I would absolutely love to read them. Please do consider subscribing because we are just silly here. We like to have fun. And if you have any other suggestions for any other videos that you would like to see, again, please pop them down below. And we hope to see you in the next one. Bye.